Last time we spoke, the Coopertars British Formula 3 Championship was still undecided, but I now speak to you as the 2012 champion. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For you, a very nerve-wracking weekend at Donington. 3 races there, lots could go wrong and everything to race for, and you came out with 2 wins, and that third race, you had to get out there and just win it, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we usually try and do is avoid certain things like saying we must do well, but at Donington we had to do well. There was no other scenario apart from being on pole for starters and having 2 race wins. That was sort of the minimum requirement, and you know there was quite a lot of pressure because when you know that you've got to basically have a perfect weekend, you know it doesn't take much for it to sometimes not happen. But the team did a great job, and you know I was able to not bottle under the pressure, and we ended up reaping the best rewards.
Tell us a little bit about the mood with you and the team going into that last race, the third race at Donington, with the championship in sight.
Well, I think I felt actually quite cool, really. I didn't feel, although there was a lot of pressure at Donington, knowing we had to deliver, I didn't actually feel that nervous about it. You know, Donington's a circuit I go well at. I was quickest there when we were tested beforehand, so I knew that I could be fast there. You know, we had a really good first race, which we won. The first grid race went really well. We sort of went into the final race knowing that if we actually won the outright race, regardless of other people's positions, we'd be the champion. Sometimes we get a bit carried away thinking, oh, we've already won it, but the team works really hard, to be honest, to make sure they stay focused, and you know, collectively with my engineer, my mechanics, I think we kept each other cool, but you know, I felt like I sort of led that, you know, sort of trying to keep them not nervous and almost trying to maintain a bit of the banter that we usually have, because in that situation, you know, it's easy for everybody to tense up and you know, almost argue instead of sort of gelling together. So you know, we worked hard to make sure we just did everything as normal, really, and just tried to really, you know, although it was an important race, everything we did in preparation for it was sort of what we'd done all year. We didn't try and do anything special. In race 1, I actually had my fastest start time all year, so I don't think, you know, I wasn't cracking under the pressure, and neither was the team. But you know, it is something that you can't help acknowledge.
Well, and yet another notch for Trevor Carlin in a brilliant 2012 for Trevor and everything he's achieved. Congratulations. I think in many ways Trevor Carlin's got to be one of the men of the year in terms of British motorsport, what he's achieved this year and the number of race wins he's had and the number of cars he's run. Speaking of which, Macau 2012 very sadly clashes with the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, but what a lineup Carlin has. We have Felipe Nasr, Carlos Sainz Jr., William Buller, Daniel Abt, and Antonio Felix da Costa, as well as Jack Harvey, all driving for Carlin. I mean, that is just going to be an amazing weekend for you.
Oh, it's incredible. I think it's probably the strongest lineup that anybody's ever taken to a race before. I think, you know, the guys that you've mentioned are all incredibly talented, and you know, to be honest, it's nice for me to go to Macau as the British Formula 3 champion. You know, to sort of actually, I'm here on merit as well. You know, just sort of going back slightly to Trev, I didn't realise actually, but the Carlin as a team won 20 races this year out of 28, which is a, you know, incredible stat, which Trev should be, you know, really happy about from a team's perspective. And you know, I think this is a good opportunity for me just to say, you know, I've said thanks already, but you know, sort of continuing to say thank you, because you know their hard work meant I was able to do the job on the track as well. So just want to say thanks to everybody at, you know, Carlin and the Racing Steps Foundation for their sort of level of support and, you know, constant support across the season. But yeah, moving back to Macau, it's for people who know, it doesn't take much of an introduction about Macau. It's awesome. It's probably the biggest one-off race on the Formula 3 calendar, and you know, even moving forward, I think it's one of them races that people want to do. I mean, you know, Antonio's done Macau for the last few years. He's now racing World Series by Renault, and he's still coming back to do Macau Formula 3. So, you know, it really shows how awesome the event is, how lucky I am to be going. You know, it's a great lineup. So again, you know, lots to learn off other drivers, but you know, I am really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Felipe Nas is another. It's very unusual these days to see somebody, as you say, World Series or GP2 in the case of Felipe, coming back and doing Formula 3 just because they want to do Macau. And for me, that is going to be one of the best race weekends of the year. And I'm just sick that it clashes with Texas. I don't know how that has happened. I don't recall it actually being the same weekend as a Grand Prix in recent history. But anyway, it is, which is very unfortunate. But having said that, I guess it gives us an opportunity when we get back to have a look at the coverage from Macau and really enjoy it. And Double R have got a good lineup too, with Kevin Koyos as another World Series driver there, and Jimmy Eriksson, who's won the German ATS F3 Championship this year. So some really great talent, and I haven't even begun to talk about the Japanese drivers coming over as well.
Sure. Well, I think as well you've got people like Alexander Sims. He's competing with T-Sport, so I think the entry list this year is incredible, and you know, to be honest, the target for me going to Macau would be to have a top 5 finish. And already the drivers that you've listed, that's probably the top 8 already.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole load of other people. Mucka have got a really good team with Pascal Wehrlein, Rosenvist as well. So you know, it's hard, and you know, we haven't even mentioned Daniel Juncadella, who actually won it last year. He's competing again. You've got Marcello. So you know, the list at the moment is sort of ongoing. I think you know, Carlin have taken like a super team. You know, Felipe, Onio as well in particular. You know, 2 really good drivers, and you know, above Formula 3 level, but are coming back to do the race. So hopefully, there's a lot to learn from them, and you know, we're gonna go out there with, you know, trying to win. You know, it's my first year racing at Macau, and you know, realistically, if we took a top 5, that'd be a good weekend for us.
Well, from your experience last year, you know about the hotels and the ferries and all the other good stuff in Macau, so you got all that out of the way. It's just the track now you've got to learn. I remember many years ago now, Stefan Johansson and I can't remember who it was. Might have been Emanuele Pirro, learning the track in inverted commas one evening in a mini moke, and it involved Pirro steering and Johansson operating the pedals with his hands down in the footwell area, and I think they got about halfway through the lap before it all ended in tears. But
well, I remember when we arrived. I arrived last year, and I was just, you know, being part of the team, you know, almost like the water boy. And anyway, I wanted to go on the track walk with the other drivers, and I spoke to one of the engineers. I was like, "Oh, what time are you going then?" He's like, "Oh, we'll probably go at like 2 in the morning because that's the only time." But the traffic's not bad. And I ran the track, and I must have nearly got run over about 10 times.
Moving swiftly on from Macau, Jack, I suppose GP3 is in your mind now, or are you thinking even beyond that for 2013?
Well, the decision doesn't really lie with me. You know, it lies with the Racing Steps Foundation, who support me. I just finished my 4th season with them, and again, you know, just want to say thanks for everything they've done, in particular Derek and Graham, for all the support this season. And you know, it was nice to win the championship, to sort of say, here you go, thanks for believing in me. Yeah, I think that, you know, they've sort of publicly said GP3 is the series they'd like me to race in. I think especially with the new car next year, it should be a really strong competitive championship. So you know, at the moment, it's just great to know that I will be racing, and you know, especially with, you know, looking at how good GP3 is going to be. You know, I'm just really lucky, really, to already know at this time of the season that I'm going to be racing, because there's a lot of people, and you know, for the next few months, people are not going to know what's happening, and you know, I know that I'll be racing. So it's just about, you know, working hard, and hopefully we'll have a decision on the team soon, so I can crack on with that as well.
Well, Jack, you deserve it. You did what you need to do so far as racing steps are concerned, and indeed Carlin and the motor racing world, which is win the Cooper Tires British F3 Championship. You did that in style. And the nice thing talking to you is that you appreciate that, I don't know if lucky's the right word, but you're in a very fortunate situation, and to be able to appreciate that is one of the keys to success, I believe. So, well done, mate. Good job, and look forward to seeing you. Sadly, not at Macau, but we're watching that on TV. But hopefully, it's an upcoming GP3 test very soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Peter.
Thank you.